Santa Barbara Baker here, showing you how I maintain my sourdough culture, aka a sourdough starter. That's what I'm pulling from each batch to make my sourdough pizza. That recipe is up on santabarbarabaker.com. On the blog, I got a full guide with videos showing you my whole process. And it's more of a guide, so you can play around with it. You don't like those flour mixes in there, change it up, make it how you like it. But one thing you do need is to keep a sourdough culture, or some people call it a starter. It's the same thing. It's, living in the fridge or maybe on your countertop, depending on how you maintain it. But that's what you need to get that pizza going. So when am I refreshing, feeding that starter? Well, it depends. Ideally, it's when I'm down to just about 25 grams left of my culture. That's the point. Otherwise, I'm pulling out, which you'll hear around, it's called discard. That's what I'm gonna be left with after I pull it out of here. That stuff you can use to make pancakes, quick breads, all sorts of stuff. But if I see that starting to pile up, that's when I would start to think, man, is sourdough really the right choice for me? Because you don't want to be throwing a bunch of stuff away. There's nothing wrong with using yeast to make your pizza. In fact, it's a great way to do it. But I love sourdough, so I'm going to show you how I do this maintenance here. All right, so it looks like, I could have been making more pizza this week. But I'm going to save this, hopefully whip up a fatty batch of pancakes this week or something. But how are we going to start this off? I got my scale here. Always weigh your shiz. I got a deli container here. I always use a fresh deli anytime I'm feeding my starter. I'm switching it every week, so I'm not worrying about any sort of fancy thing to keep my starter, my culture in. You don't need anything like that. Simple deli container can work. Tear it out. I weighed 100 grams of water in here. It's filtered water, just room temp. Gonna get that onto this scale, and now pulling from, the last feed on this was the 19th. So if I'm not down to the last amount, that last 25 grams, I'm gonna feed anywhere between a week to even up to 2 weeks. I've let it go longer than that. You can always replenish some life into it, for the most part, if this thing's been alive for a while. This one's been going since about April. I use the Ken Forkish method from the Elements of Pizza. I feel like it's a good recipe for doing it. It uses less flour than some, which I really like because I don't like wasting stuff. So 25 grams. I bet it's gonna have to pull a little bit more than this. 22. I'll get a little bit more. You don't have to be exact here. Around 25 is good. All right, we're at 27. That sounds all right to me. So this right here, I'm gonna save that, put that in the fridge, use it for something else. The next step, I'm just gonna go in here right with my hands, start breaking up the little chunk of culture into my fresh water here, into the fresh deli. Just breaking it up to get it kind of just incorporated into the water. Then up next, I'm gonna dump this flour in here. What kind of flour do I use? I typically maintain my culture with just regular old bread flour. And why am I doing that? It's just the flour that I have the most of on hand. All-purpose flour works great too. I don't really throw 00 in there, but some people do. You can play around with it. And what I always recommend too, if you're having some trouble, your sourdough just seems a little bit too chilled out, needs to be awakened a little bit, I'd throw maybe 25 grams of some whole wheat, some T85 or something in there, breathe a little life into it. All right, where's my towel? All right, we got one right here. Spilling water, always work clean if you can. I do my best, but I got a ways to go. All right, got the water all mixed up, and I'm just gonna go in here and just get my bread flour mixed up, just dumping it right in. You can use the spoon, or a lot of people just like going with the hands. There's a little bit of culture left on here. We'll go with the spoon, getting that every last batch in here. I'm gonna make sure this is all worked in. I like to do, if you've ever seen that book, the Tassahar bread book. It's one of my favorite baking books. It's a little bit wook, old school, but it really got me into baking. There's fun stuff in there. They're always talking about 100 turns of the spoon. I'm gonna go with 100 turns today. Gonna get this all mixed up. I'm gonna throw the rubber band from this one right onto it, label it up with the date today so I know when I refreshed it, when I fed that starter. I'm gonna let this hang out covered, room temp, about 10, 12 hours. I'm looking for it to double. If I see it double for them, I'll probably just throw it in the fridge. But once you hit that point, it's doubled, looking good. Just put that thing in the fridge, or pull a little, start making your first batch of pizza of the week. Gonna get this all mixed up, put it into the fridge. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe if you did. Tell your friends. Santa Barbara Baker. I'm Santa Barbara Baker on Instagram too. All sorts of fun stuff on there. Showing you all the firemost pizzas. Baking it up fresh. Love you all. One love.